So this episode of the Cyber Translator, it's ransomware, but not as you know it. It's a non-technical approach to ransomware understanding. We're going to look at three things. What exactly is it? Two, why you cannot prevent it. Yeah, I do mean that, you can't. And three, what are you going to do about it? Because there is simple, effective solutions. This is one you cannot miss. It's ransomware. Don't become another victim. Hi, welcome back to the Cyber Translator. What are we going to translate on this episode? Well, it's that topic you've never heard of, that you've never seen anywhere. It's ransomware. We're going to cover in ransomware today a little bit differently because the material that exists is usually targeted towards a very technical audience. And as senior leaders, business owners, you don't need to be technical. You shouldn't have to be. So today we're going to look at what is actually ransomware. Let's dissect it. Let's take it apart. Let's understand it in a non-technical way. Once we understand it, then we're going to learn why there's nothing really that you can do to prevent this. Yeah, nothing. And if you can't prevent it, then the question becomes, what can you do to protect the company? Because there are things that you can accomplish, and they're not massively complicated nor expensive. So let's start with what it is. What exactly is ransomware? Well, I'm going to talk about something that's not ransomware to start with. I'm going to talk about encryption. When I work with customers to protect their private information, their personally identifiable, personal sensitive, and personal health, when we connect to the cloud and use cloud services and communications, when we use VPNs to communicate, we're using encryption. Encryption is there to protect the secrecy of our data. It's an incredibly powerful utility. Encryption can be trusted, if we do it right, to provide you an exceptionally high level of security. We use encryption to keep our private secrets confidential from the people that would want to expose them. If your IT team has properly run through a process to encrypt your mobile phone, and they've got good encryption software, strong mathematical ciphers, things like AES and RSA that do the hard work, and of course, you've entered strong passwords. How sick are you of your IT team reminding you about your strong passwords? The password has to be strong. If you get all three links in the chain correct, encryption provides a really high level of protection and security. If your phone that's encrypted gets stolen, it's no good to the hacker because encryption requires a key that both locks and unlocks the information. That key can be a strong password. It can be multi-factor authentication and tokens you get delivered to your phone. It could be a fingerprint or a facial scan. Now, you hope when the hacker steals your phone that they don't take a copy of your face with them. If they did, they could access the data. But you know they don't. We trust encryption to protect the most important information we have from people who shouldn't see it. You need both the information and the key to make any use of it. Without the key, the information becomes useless. Can you break into it? Well, theoretically, yes, but practically, no. What do I mean? It takes hundreds of thousands of years to try to break the strongest encryptions we have. And as long as those three links in the chain are strong, encryption provides really good security. So what's that got to do with ransomware? Hackers are going to turn one of the most powerful tools we have, encryption, against us. When a hacker compromises your system, they're going to encrypt all your data. And to do that, they create a key. Now, if they took the key away, you would instantaneously lose access to your information. But hey, that's okay, because you've got a backup. But what they actually do is they leave the key with you. It's called a dwell time. They encrypt your data and they give you the key. Nothing changes. Because you've got the key, you can access all the information on your system. If I take the key away, that suddenly stops. But I don't take it away immediately. I leave you the key. So, in your view, nothing's changed. Everything works, everything's normal. And we leave that on for a period, a dwell time. Why? Well, now your data has been physically changed from plain text, data that's useful, to encrypted text, pseudo-random nonsense. Without the key, it remains pseudo-random nonsense. So when you go and back the system up, you're backing up the physical data that's pseudo-random. You're backing up encrypted data. If I leave the key with you for one day, your backup yesterday's encrypted. If I leave the key with you for 2 weeks, all your backups for 2 weeks are encrypted. 3 months, you've lost 3 months worth of information when I remove the key. Dwell time. If you can find this quickly and solve it quickly, the damage is limited. But if you don't find them for 3 months, the damage can be critical, because once they take the key away, you can no longer gain access to it. The same way as when a hacker steals your phone. If it's properly encrypted, it's no good to them. They cannot practically get access to that information within a reasonable amount of time. Not without the key, your face for a face scan. Number one, what is ransomware? Hackers encrypt your data, they leave you the key for a period, and then they remove it. When they remove it, you lose access. That includes your backups. So number two, why can't we stop this? Well, it's a risk. So we can mitigate it. Mitigation is reduction. You can't prevent all risks and all vulnerabilities on any IT system. Human beings at some point in the chain are involved in creating your computers and software, and human beings, we all make mistakes, vulnerabilities. You see, there's no possible way to guarantee on any information system you will never be compromised. We can reduce the likelihood of it. Patching and antivirus, staff awareness training and education, having technical teams with good skills. We can reduce the likelihood, but because this simply requires a mistake, a line of code that's inaccurate from the millions and millions of lines of code that you're running in your company right now, it is impossible to completely prevent it. It's just a risk. You can mitigate and reduce, but you're never ever going to completely get rid of it. So that brings me to what I really want to get to. What are you going to do about this? You need to do something. And I think I've already given you a clue. The whole thing about ransomware is it depends on dwell time. It depends on how long it's on your system before they take the key. If we can find ransomware within 24 hours, well then, it's going to be painful, but it won't be critical. Could you lose 24 hours worth of data? Well, you wouldn't like to, but would the business fold? Would it cause critical failure? I don't think so. Not with 24 hours. But it might do if there was 2 weeks or 2 months worth of data lost. You see, it's about detection. And the thing about detection is you have an easy way to do this. Backups. My definition of a backup of an audit as an auditor is really simple. A backup is an offline copy of your data that you have tested. You see, if I take a backup tape that's been infected with ransomware, and if I take it to a clean system, a completely isolated sandbox, separate system, a system the hacker has no access to, then when I restore that data, there's no way can a key be on it. If I restore the data, I will immediately find it's encrypted. That's how a lot of people find they've got ransomware. Something goes wrong, it stops working, you get your backup tape, and suddenly it's of no use to you. What are you going to do with it? Proper backups. It's disaster recovery. And disaster recovery, in my definition, is very, very clear. A tested offline copy. How often is your IT department testing? It would be quite easy to have a routine where you plant a few little words, we call them canary words, a few key little things. And every time we take a backup, we take it to a separate isolated system and we test for those files. Ransomware causes damage because you cannot do DR. You must, as a business leader, owner, senior manager, you must make sure that we have properly, fully tested disaster recovery processes. Every single news story you see about ransomware, the companies fought. They had backups, but they didn't. It's that simple. It's a simple attack with a simple solution. You as a leader need to focus on, do we have backups and how do we test them? How frequently? I want to see evidence of the test. I want to see evidence of a daily test. You see, ransomware is just yet another hack. And it turns one of the most powerful tools that we have against us, encryption. And the truth is, you can reduce the likelihood, but you can't eliminate it. So you need incident response plans, business continuity plans, and disaster recovery plans. And if it has the word plan, it's of no use unless it's been tested. Do me a favor, do yourself a favor. Demand to see DR testing. Get involved. Get personally involved. You need to do this. Folks, we've been here talking about ransomware. I hope some of it made some sense to you, and I hope you learned something, and I hope you enjoyed it. It's something we do have to defeat, and it's one of those things that keeps me awake at night. Hope you enjoyed this one. Maybe you join me in the next one. And if you did enjoy it, maybe you want to subscribe and like. But for me, from this one, hope you learned something. Hope you enjoyed it. See you later.